ABC6, large cache of counterfeit jewel products seized in Philadelphia.
Well, Monica, catching and prosecuting the people responsible for fake merchandise created in foreign countries is very, very difficult. So customs officials work very hard to intercept that material before it hits the streets of Philadelphia, and that's exactly what happened in this case. This is a look at the actual items confiscated by U.S. Customs and Border Protection earlier this month. All said, customs agents seized more than 1,100 counterfeit jewel pods, 3 chargers, and other related paraphernalia. The shipment was flown in from China, destined for an address in Newark, Delaware. U.S. Customs officials seize millions of dollars worth of counterfeit merchandise every year, but a seizure like this one is especially important because these products are ingested, and there's no way to verify the safety of the fake products or their ingredients.
We don't know what the actual makeup is. It's coming from unregulated, unsanitary, manufactured warehouses that are not approved by the trademark holders. And there's all types of chemicals that you're now ingesting that you have no idea what it is.
So the question now is, how do you know if your e-cigarettes are authentic? Customs officials say
to buy it from a reputable dealer. Juul released a statement on the seizure. We applaud the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol for these crucial enforcement actions against these unlawful products made with unknown and potentially hazardous chemicals and with unregulated quality standards. Juul Labs is committed to eliminating combustible cigarettes, the number one cause of preventable death in the world. To reverse that opportunity for adult smokers, we must restrict usage of vapor products and counterfeit products sold illicitly to undermine those efforts. That's why taking swift and decisive action against counterfeit and infringing products is one of our key priorities, and U.S. Customs and Border Patrol plays a critical role in stopping these products from entering the country. Our global brand protection team will continue to work closely with law enforcement, regulators, and other key stakeholders around the world to protect public health and combat youth access. Yeah, okay. You guys really care about people.
Yeah. I found this slightly ironic, too, because I was under the impression that the vaping industry was very loosely regulated.
It is.
And that's kind of some of the issues.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of the research that has been coming out that these things are not good for you, even the so-called safe ones.
Exactly. Little ironic, but I guess counterfeit vape is the thing now. New York Times, Senator McConnell, a tobacco ally, supports raising the age to buy cigarettes. McConnell, the Republican Senate Majority Leader, whose home state, Kentucky, is the nation's second largest tobacco producer, said he was motivated by the increasing rate of vaping among teenagers and young adults. Proposals called Tobacco 21 that would raise the minimum age required to buy cigarettes to 21 from 18 have been gaining more and more support in the recent years. Tobacco and vaping companies have gone on board too, partly in apparent effort to distance themselves from accusations that they have been deliberately marketing their products to youth to hook a new generation. Alturia, Juul, and R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company all have said they back raising the minimum age. Yeah,
I feel like it's just a publicity
stunt. It's a
stunt.
publicity stunt on their end. They don't care. They were marketing to children. As far as the next web, happy 420. Here's some science to shut up the cannabis haters. Whoop! There have been countless studies on marijuana use by researchers and academics across the globe. An article on the U.S. government's National Institutes of Health National Institute on Drug Abuse shows long-term studies indicate that THC may cause cognitive dysfunction in the human brain. It's important to remember that none of these studies would appear to show any conclusive evidence that cannabis actually does harm the brain, but instead they attempt to establish a relationship between self-reported cannabis use and temporary or persistent cognitive impairment. An article written by Dr. Ethan Russo indicates cannabis can not only relieve symptoms for people who suffer from migraines, fibromyalgia, and irritable bowel syndrome, but it could also potentially address the underlying cause. In its conclusion, migraine, fibromyalgia, IBS are related conditions, display common clinical, biochemical, and pathophysiological patterns that suggest an underlying clinical endocannabinoid deficiency that may be suitably treated with cannabinoid medicines. Makes sense. The bottom line is that the jury is still out whether cannabis has long-term harmful effects. It's clear that this medicinal and therapeutic benefits as a social lubricant or anxiety reducer in the recreational capacity. It's less dangerous to harm human health and mortality than the consumption of alcohol, over-the-counter painkillers, or tobacco, says the author of the article. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I would say out of all those, marijuana is by far the safest. Probably doesn't hurt you too much.
Yeah. And looking at their conclusions about the research done, I've also noticed the same thing where they have poorly run studies
Yeah.
about cognitive effects.
Yeah, we really need to kick up the cannabis studies.
Yeah.
Forbes. Marijuana users gain less weight than non-users despite the munchies, study suggests. Are cannabis users less likely to gain weight? Results from a national 3-year prospective study published in the International Journal of Epidemiology. Researchers analyzed body mass index (BMI) data for over 33,000 participants from the National Epidemiological Survey of Alcohol and Related Conditions, comparing BMI of marijuana users and non-users 18 and older over a 3-year period. They found a small average weight variance between users and non-users, around 2 pounds, but that modest difference held true across nearly the entire study group. The study found that marijuana users seemed to gain less weight over time than non-users. It should be noted that this was an observational study looking for correlations, not causation. This research does not prove that using marijuana assists in weight loss, only that across a 3-year period, the researchers observed a steady correlation. More research will have to fill in the gaps. Why does marijuana trigger the munchies? The latest research suggests that THC sets off a cascade of brain activity in the neural networks underlying our sense of smell and taste. When the activity reaches a certain threshold, the brain responds as if we're starving, and the hunt for snack is on. That's a finding based only on experiments with mice. However, the precise munchies mechanism in humans is still not entirely clear. There you go.
I mean, this goes back to, human behavior, and you're kind of responsible for your own choices and your own patterns.
Yep.
Like you, for example, you stopped drinking alcohol and
100%.
now you just do cannabis, but you save yourself calories that way.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I do it.
Yeah, but you could have also used it as an excuse to go out and get Jack in the Box munchie meal, which you don't.
I don't get the munchies. I consume a lot of cannabis, and I do not get the munchies.
If you do get the munchies, you can munch on vegetables, fruits.
Water.
It's all about healthy choices.
Munch on water.
Yeah.
Science Daily. CBD could help deliver medications to the brain. Scientists have now shown that CBD could have a different use as a Trojan horse, helping slip medications across the blood-brain barrier, BBB, and into mouse brains. The researchers report their results in the ACS journal Molecular Pharmaceutics. The BBB consists of a layer of tightly linked cells that line capillaries in the brain, preventing substances from exiting the blood and entering the brain. However, the BBB does not permit some molecules to pass, such as glucose and certain amino acids and neurotransmitters. For example, a class of neurotransmitters called the endocannabinoids bind to proteins called cannabinoid receptors in the BBB, and the receptors help transport the molecules across the barrier into the brain. Anatole Suarez and colleagues wanted to make use of this system to sneak drug nanocarriers into the brains of mice. To do so, researchers attached CBD, which resembles endocannabinoids, made by both mice and humans, to the outside of the surfaces of lipid nanocapsules. Instead of loading the nanocapsules with a medication, the researchers packaged them with fluorescent molecules so they can track the particles. In experiments with human brain cells that mimic the BBB, the researchers showed that the CBD displaying nanocarriers caused more of the fluorescent molecule to pass through the cells than nanocarriers of equal size that lack CBD. Similarly, when injected into healthy mice, the CBD nanocapsules targeted about 2.5 times more of the fluorescent molecule to the animals' brains.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
These are really cool preliminary results, but this has great promise, since a lot of the problem with especially trying to treat depression or other psychiatric conditions is trying to cross that blood-brain barrier.
Yeah.
Or BBB.
BBB.
And so this is why, for example, lithium is also often used to treat depression or other disorders, but they have to do it in such a high dose because it's hard to get it across the blood-brain barrier, which then starts reaching toxic levels. So if you could attach it to CBD, that'd be awesome. But, they also said that they're not sure how the CBD binding to the drug may affect how it binds to the receptors in your brain. So we could have mixed results, but, still very interesting.
It is. That's fun research.
More research needs to be done.
CBD is amazing. A lot of people like it. CBS Philly. Carl's Jr. selling CBD infused burger on April 20th.
Carl's Jr. is testing out a cannabis burger. The chain said on Wednesday that it will sell the Rocky Mountain High Cheeseburger Delight Burger at one location in Denver, Colorado, just for one day, April 20th. The Senior Vice President of Brand Marketing, Patty Trevino, says the company is using it as a test to determine whether or not a CBD burger belongs in its permanent menu. Matt Uris, covering Colorado First.
Colorado, wow. On Saturday, April 20th, only at one Denver location, the fast food chain offered a special burger that included a CBD infused sauce. Rocky Mountain High will slather 2 beef patties, pickled jalapenos, and waffle fries with a special version of the restaurant's Santa Fe sauce containing 5 milligrams of CBD. There it is.
Sign me up.
The FDA spokesperson clarified adding CBD to both foods and dietary supplements in interstate commerce are both illegal. The Agricultural Improvement Act of 2018, commonly known as the Farm Bill, marked the dawn of the new age of prosperity when the bill passed December 2018. The Farm Bill legalized the interstate sale of hemp from which CBD can be extracted. Under this bill, industrial hemp must contain less than 0.3% THC. But in January, shortly after the Farm Bill passed, state and local public health authorities across the U.S. started cracking down on foods that contain CBD, ordering bakeries, coffee shops, bars, and restaurants to embargo their products from sale. Maine, New York City, Ohio, Florida, and Georgia food safety officials banned the addition of CBD in food. In Idaho, the state police seized shipments of 7,000 pounds of industrial hemp, claiming that even 0.3% THC content that's legal under federal law is higher than 0% allowed under Idaho law. As multi-state crackdowns occurred within a few weeks of each other, the FDA maintained its role just wants to support and advice to local officials and would not comment on whether it's coordinating on the crackdown. For now, CBD itself is legal for interstate commerce under the Farm Bill, but supplements in Denver. Wait, that got cut off. Never mind. Yep, that's it. That's how they got around it.
Just let it be free, though.
Because the CBD is being heavily regulated at this moment. So we have all this good stuff coming out, all this good news coming out about CBD, but it's
just so frustrating. Let the people get their hands on it. Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
I heard there's a CBD coffee shop that just opened in Houston, and that was really popular.
Line was out the door.
People want
it.
Just
it's money. Let the people out.
I know. Let people spend money.
Yeah,
Jeez,
let people spend the money.
Why is that so hard for our capitalist society
I know.
when it comes to CBD? Don't understand.
It's crazy. Rounding off the drug news of this week. Japan Times, Breaking Bad. Shikoku professor allegedly instructed students to produce MDMA. Tetsuroni Aroma, 61, a professor at the College of Pharmaceutical Sciences at Matsuyama University in Ehime Prefecture, admitted the allegation, telling investigators that he did in order to help his students learning. He also acknowledged that he knew it was illegal. Imar instructed an associate professor and 2 then students to produce MDMA in class between 2011 and 2013, despite him not being licensed to produce the drug for academic purposes. Then between 2016 and 2017, Imara directed the associate professor and 2 other people who were also students at the time to also produce the drug, which the professor took into his possession. Why would he do that?
It's pretty funny. But at the same time, I mean, I always say any sophomore organic chemistry student should be able to synthesize a lot of these drugs.
Yes.
We act like they're so, I don't know, scary and hard to do, but any chemist can make them.
But in Japan, I'm assuming that's not okay.
Oh, well, it wouldn't be okay here.
Well, they arrested Paul McCartney back when he was in Wings for carrying pot. So I can't imagine MDMA is any better by their standards. Thank you so much for watching. For more content like this, please check out our podcast over at healthytalkshow.com/subscribe. We're live Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over at healthytalkshow.com/live. Love and light.